What's good? What's good? What's good? This is RawTruth Media, giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. And yes, I am live right now. Repeat, I am live. Please like, please share with everyone. I mean everyone. Last night's game was something to see. And I'm talking about the Prairie A&M versus Texas Southern game. Now, this offseason, and shout out to Arthur Wilson. He said, "What's good, brother? Tuning in from Poland." Shout out to Poland. Brother Flight Sports TV in the building. Peace and blessings, my brother. I hope you're doing well. So last night, Prairie A&M silenced a lot of doubters. Silenced a lot of haters last night. Last night they ran for 3 hours. I'll repeat, 388 yards. So 66 carries, 388 yards, which is unacceptable if you're Texas Southern. Would have me, Ken Clark, Zoe, Tomorrow Leader Sports Network, and many more have said about what Texas Southern needed to do to show that they're really an improved team. Defense. Everyone ignored defense. And offensive line. But shout out to Bubba McDowell. Man, can you believe that Prairie A&M only threw the ball 6 times? Their backup quarterback came in because Connolly got cramps. And they were running that whole game. 3 players rushing for 100-plus yards each. Jaden Stewart, 119 yards, rushing 2 touchdowns. And then you had Ahmad Antonio, that is, the senior running back from New Orleans, 115 yards. And after that, Connolly, the quarterback, rushed for 109 yards plus that 70-yard run. And then you had the quarterback, Heron, which is really an athlete. He chipped in some yards. So that's the worst way to lose, is to give up 300-plus yards. I watched the game. Prairie A&M punked Texas Southern. And I like Texas Southern's offense. I hope they do well. But last night's game, they punked them. Texas Southern was daring Prairie A&M to throw it. They knew the run was coming, and they couldn't stop it. Shout out to Real Talk. He says, "We've heard the transfer portal hype for this season. In your opinion, did the hype translate?" No, it did not so far. It did for FAMU. Even when they missed a lot of players, they showed that they had talent, but it just depends on the team. See, the one thing I respect about FAMU, they're worried about FAMU and trying to be the best FAMU team they can be. And a lot of teams, I'm not trying to bring up Jackson State a lot, but y'all know the truth. They were trying to outdo Jackson State so much. They didn't strategize what transfers to bring in, what high school players to bring in. Whatever I always said, you gotta have team chemistry. So you can't be like Alabama A&M and just putting a billion transfer on your roster and say we're gonna beat FAMU, we're gonna beat Jackson State. It doesn't work like that. The players that Coach Prime brings in, it's a fit. It fits with Dennis Sturman and his defensive coaching scheme. The players they bring in on offense fits with the offensive personnel of Brett Bartolone. Did you know that Prairie A&M brought in some transfers, but not too many, but just enough to fit with the identity of Bubba McDowell? And man, Andrew Body, who's a very talented player, he was running for his life. And that Texas Southern offensive line got to get it together. You have a talented quarterback in Andrew Body. Don't let him get hit too many times because it gets dangerous out there, especially if you're a dual threat. So they got to shore that up. Coach McKinley, this loss was on you. Bubba McDowell outcoached you. Let's keep it real. He outcoached Clarence McKinney. I hate to do this, but it was 388 yards. They could have rushed for more than that. But once they had the game, y'all realize this, right? And this is when you know you get your teeth kicked in. Prairie A&M, once they had a good enough lead, was just wasting clock. And when you're playing clock control and you in the closing minutes, that's the biggest what you call sign of disrespect, saying we're going to control this clock and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what Prairie View A&M did in that fourth quarter. We don't care if we play conservative on offense. There's nothing you can do about it. That's what they were doing. Let's get the likes up. Let's share this video throughout all social media. Israel Carey, peace and blessings, my brother. He says, I told him Prairie View was in the SWAC championship. Never discount a division winner. Yep. While everybody was talking about the other teams were going to be ascending ahead of Prairie View A&M, PV showed that they're of that championship ilk. And they've been disrespected this all offseason. You saw at the end of the game when they gave Bubba McDowell the Gatorade water for the celebration. They hugged him like we told them so. They took this game personal. A lot of people, you go through the web, you go through Facebook, you name it, was saying that Prairie View A&M was going to lose 40 plus to 10. I've seen scores of Prairie View was going to lose 50 to 20 something predictions. And the rest of the SWAC community forgot, not all, but most of them forgot that Prairie View A&M still has their athletes. Yes, they lost Dumas, but they got speed on that team. Yeah, Phil Ross with no Dumas. The PV defense looked fast, physical, and I like how PV does their transfer method. They only do a few spots that are in need, and they're not just getting transfers just to get them. Like if they need a defensive tackle from D1 because they lost Dumas, they'll do that, which they did, and they developed their high school players because they're all there in H-Town. And you know, Houston, in my opinion, is the best, where the best athletes go. Now, some say Dallas, respectfully, but Houston is where you get your speed in Texas. The fastest kids come from Houston, Texas. Sophia Lamar says, think PV was underestimated. Yeah, they were. And I'm so glad that I said on this show a while ago when I was talking about what teams will do, and I gave Bubba McDowell benefit of the doubt because he's a first-year new coach, and I pointed out that I'm going to give him some time. That was the smartest thing I ever did. even I wasn't dumb enough to say, oh, this is going to be a horrible year. What I pointed out, if they lose games, it won't be as much. You know what I mean? Now what I'm seeing from PV, and I'm looking at all the other SWAC teams, Prairie A&M is going to be a lot better than what people think. Man, I had people hit me up saying, man, I didn't realize Prairie View had all these athletes and all this talent. Of course, they return most of them. They see Dumas leave and they think that that Prairie A&M is no more. And Dumas is an amazing player doing his thing at Southern. But yeah, what I saw in the field, Prairie A&M, they wanted that. They took that game personal. A lot of people motivated Prairie A&M. Remember, I got family members that went there, cousins, aunts. I have family members that went to Texas Southern. And my kinfolk who told me about watch out for PV this whole offseason. The brother been consistent this whole time. And if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about. You were right, kinfolk. You were right. Levi, I didn't say Dallas didn't have dogs. I'm talking about speed. I'm talking about the fastest players. I'm not saying Dallas don't have no speed, but if you look at the schools that come out of Houston, your North Shores, Katie's, Humble schools. I mean, talking with most coaches, that's where you get the speed from. That doesn't mean Dallas don't have speed, because we know they do at Lancaster and South Oak Cliff, Duncanville, DeSoto. We get that. But in Houston, I give the edge to Houston. And that's just my opinion. There's nothing against Dallas. We know they got dogs out there. Hollywood says, maybe Texas Southern is that bad defensively, but I'll point this out. Clarence McKinney, he's got to be more creative on that playbook, because Texas Southern is no longer the underdog. I repeat, Texas Southern is no longer the underdog. They got film on them. Teams got film on them. And they're going to treat them as the top dog because they have a quarterback who is very talented. And now you see it's not easy to play on a bad offensive line. And I was trying to tell people, and this is not to compare each player, because Andrew Body, if he was on any other HBCU team, he'll dominate, especially a team with an offensive line. Like if Andrew Body was at Southern, he wouldn't have to worry about getting hit so much because Southern has offensive line. But now you see what Shadir had to deal with. Everybody laughed at Shadir Sanders for getting hit almost every game, not almost every game, and still making throws. It's not as easy. Fast forward to Alcorn State. Now on RawTruth Media, what have I always said about Alcorn State? As long as Coach McNair is the coach, you have a chance. Those players at Alcorn State play so hard for Coach McNair. They play for him. They believe in his coaching. They believe at what he's trying to build with that program. Fred McNair is a leader of men. And when they played against Stephen F. Austin, they gave him all they can handle. Stephen A. Austin, they shouldn't have never won this game. Made the right plays at the right time, give them credit. And shout out to the people at Nacogdoches. I know where Stephen F. Austin is. Respectful school. Now, I tell you one thing. If Alcorn State would have won that game, guess what the haters will say? The SWAC haters that will. They would have said, well, Stephen F. Austin lost to Jacksonville State, so they shouldn't be ranked. That's stupid. Stephen F. Austin is better than a lot of FCS schools. And since Jacksonville State has moved up to FBS, now they're still in FCS, but can't compete in the FCS playoffs. They got 85 scholarships now. And you saw today, not today, but yesterday, Jacksonville State destroyed another team. You see what happens when you get those 85 scholarships? You start attracting more talent and depth. You can rotate more. We try to tell you all this. But let me digress. Coach McNair, Fred McNair, that is, sent a message to all of HBCUs, the whole SWAC. He's not going anywhere. And that quarterback they have, Aaron Allen, that transferred from Louisiana Tech. He may not be a superstar quarterback, but he's just the right quarterback for Alcorn State. He runs when he needs to and is an effective passer. Is he like Jeremy Musa? No. But with Alcorn State, he doesn't really need to be. They got a good running game. Jarvion Howard, the transfer from Syracuse, is a dog, man. He didn't play for Alcorn last year. He played at Syracuse. And then while at Syracuse in his 3 years, each year he averaged 300-plus yards. So he has talent. He had 194 yards, 9.2 yards per carry against a ranked Stephen F. Austin team. What did that tell you? Never count out Alcorn State. Let me read some of these comments. Phil Ross says, a lot of players I had heard we should watch out for this season, and I didn't see much. I guess it's the first game. Even if it was the first game, I'm disappointed. Very disappointed. Execution is what I want to see. If you play a money game or not, or you play a ranked FCS team, all I want to see is discipline and execution the right way. Alcorn State played the right way. Mississippi Valley State, despite the quarterback situation, they played great defense. Should have won the game. But you're not going to go far with Jelani Easton, respectfully. That's what lost them the game. 13 points is not going to cut it. Real Talk says Alcorn also showed out. Yeah, they showed out, man. Congratulations to Alcorn. Hey, Alcorn, one thing I respect about Alcorn State, they don't have to be celebrated. They kept their head down and worked and looked like one of the best teams in the SWAC, besides FAMU, of course. In Jackson State, they played today. You know how talented they are. But I'm talking about the ones that played, not even just the SWAC, all of HBCUs. The teams that stood out so far that have played. Now, this is only teams that have played. North Carolina Central, Alcorn, FAMU. I'm trying to think of any more. Southern, even though that's a D2 team, but Southern has talent. That's it. That's it. Tennessee State. I can't forget them. I can't believe Tennessee State. Oh, man. They should have won that damn game. You know how Draylen Ellis is a talented quarterback, but what he has to do, he has to hold on to that ball. Those fumbles killed him. He knows that. Coach Eddie George knows it. They got to get that rectified. Can you imagine if Tennessee State would have won that game against Eastern Washington before the Jackson State matchup? Now, one thing I noticed in that game, there were some questionable penalties. And this is why I hate when HBCUs go to these do the home and homes. And that's why I'm not mad at JSU for saying we don't need to be doing no home and home. We got the leverage. And that's why I like that Stephen F. Austin showed guts to play a HBCU at their place instead of doing that, instead of at SFA. Texas State was not getting any proper calls in that game. I'm not making excuses. That's just what I saw. The officiating was shitty. But the good thing is with Draylen Ellis and Devon Starlin, who had 200-plus yards rushing, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be really good, man. And Jackson State having them in their schedule bodes well. Really bodes well, man. As well as Campbell. Campbell looked good. Campbell's defense is top 10 worthy, in my opinion. They should be ranked. We'll see what happens. Continue reading these comments. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about North Carolina Central, man. Yeah, it's your boy OZ. That's who I got winning the MEAC. I'm not impressed with South Carolina's offense. I'm just letting y'all be I'm just keeping it real. I know people got those Celebration Bowl glasses on, and they only mention when they mention, y'all realize when they mention South Carolina State, they mention the win they had against Jackson State. But I'm sticking with my pick. I have North Carolina Central winning the MEAC. They got a quarterback in Davis Richard, fast receivers. They're a young team. And their offensive, they run a spread offense. So that win they had against North Carolina A&T was big time. North Carolina A&T, you got to regroup. I don't want to make a overreaction and say, oh, North Carolina's not going to win their division. It's going to be tough because Campbell, they look like the leaders in that division, in my opinion, the Big South. But Davis Richard had no turnovers, was their leading rusher and leading passer. And he distributed the ball to, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different receivers. When you have a quarterback with that intelligence, that awareness, you're going to go far. It's your boy OZ says Southern played a high school team. No, Southern got talent. I wish they wouldn't play a team like that to keep it real with y'all, but Southern has talent. That's something we all agree on. Oh, guess who plays this is brought up on my mind. Guess who plays South Carolina State next? I want y'all to guess real quick. It's going to be Bethune-Cookman. Now, I know Bethune-Cookman lost to a talented Miami squad 70-13, but if you really watch the game, Bethune was moving the ball. But I don't know what happened. I guess the head coach, Terry Sims, was trying to see each quarterback. In my opinion, he should have left Jalen Jones in the game. Because Jalen Jones threw for 243 yards. He did throw that one interception. But he had a touchdown. He was a run threat. The receivers, I'm very impressed with the Bethune-Cookman receivers. They're going to get their yards against a lot of teams, not even just in the SWAC, but when they play against South Carolina State. And I guarantee you, Bethune-Cookman will win more than 2 games. And what I saw in some of this bad defensive play, bad quarterback play I'm seeing around most teams, that's going to play in their advantage. It's your boy says LSU's going to dog walk. LSU has a talented D-line, man. You heard me say this before. I believe LSU got top 3 in the SEC for sure. It's your boy OZ said Bethune is my sleeper this season. Yo, watch out. since I watched the whole Miami game, I'm not fooled by that score. You know, my Bethune got tired. They was playing a bunch of quarterbacks and then playing their second string. I get it. Terry Sims wants his starters to be healthy, and it was a money game, and that's why the score got worse than what it looks like. Miami's again well coached, well talented, but physical. A couple of players were nicked up for Bethune, so Terry Sims had to be smart and protect the starters. I truly understand that. Bethune-Cookman could beat South Carolina State. South Carolina State is nothing against them. I know they develop NFL players, but they're not world beaters. They're not. Vaughn says Grambling looked just how they dressed for media day. Damn. That disappointed me. Grambling. You know I got love for y'all, man. You know I've always said the SWAC is really great when Grambling is great, as well as all the blue bloods in the SWAC. But you cannot lose to Arkansas State 58-3. Arkansas State, they improved under Butch Jones, of course, right now. The roster is upgraded just by a smidget, but they're not as good to beat you 58-3. That's like if an SEC. Now, if Grambling would have played, it may not even be Georgia, Alabama. If Grambling would have played LSU or some of these other SEC teams, I would have understood. But Arkansas State, in a tough Sun Belt conference, are they even guaranteed to win 6 games? They may win 6, but are they guaranteed to win more than 6 games? I doubt it when you have Coastal Carolina and company in that division. Now, that can lose them that game. I do agree. If Bethune-Cookman cannot tackle well against those backs of South Carolina State, that's going to cost them the game. Man, if I'm Coach Terry Sims, I'm doing a tackle circuit every single day. Javon Williamson talking mess. Now he said, look how much Tennessee State's offense looked better without Hugh. Graham, y'all in for come on, man. Start Grambling now, man. That has nothing to do with Hugh. If you really look at the game, Hugh Jackson was trying to take some deep shots early in the game. But without a quarterback, they can't really run that offense well. I see what Hugh was trying to do. And in the first 2 quarters, a lot of their receivers were open in the deep shots. It was either drops or someone not running the right route. That game was such an irritant. I kept seeing the quarterbacks telling their players, hey, that's the wrong area. No, that's the wrong area. Line up here. You're supposed to be set. So it's easy to blame the coach, but the players, y'all got to take this seriously, man. I hope Grambling could turn it around, but that was a bad loss. But I got to admit, because I saw someone on Twitter say, well, at least Alabama A&M lost to a better team that scored 50-plus points. No, that's still the worst loss of all the SWAC. I'm sorry. Alabama A&M getting a slacking to UAB, and we know they're talented, but they're not a juggernaut. That was the worst loss in the SWAC, bar none. Because Hugh Jackson is a new coach and has new players, so you could kind of see what he's trying to build. It may take some time, but Alabama A&M had no excuses. You had a record amount of transfers. And that's that saying goes. No matter who you bring in, if there's no cohesion, if there's no unity, if there's no togetherness, you're not going to win as much. Hey, let's get the like button. Hit the like button to 80 likes. Yeah, Graham did look unorganized. That's what ticked me off the most. Real talk, I truly believe Alabama A&M was the worst loss because when you bring in that many transfers, you're not supposed to lose like that. In Gramblin's case, Grambling has recruited 35, 38 high school players, and they're still trying to find a quarterback. Again, that Grambling loss is bad, but Alabama A&M, for what they were hyped up to be, was the worst loss. Javon Williamson says Bethune-Cookman's O-line is 100% Swiss cheese, holes everywhere. All of the best U pass rushers have left over. I mean, yeah, that offensive line is not going to cut it. But I do like the Bethune-Cookman receivers are fast. They got that Florida speed. Y'all know that speed they got in Florida. Even the commentator after the game said that, I know this doesn't look well for Bethune-Cookman to lose 70-13, but their receivers will score on a lot of people. That's what the commentator said. And I know that Southern played a D2 team. I get that. But I agree with Dazzling. Southern looks really sharp. They look organized. See, when you play D2 teams, that's what I want to see. I want to see consistency. When Alabama State played Miles College, when they had that 21-6 lead that vanished, and they finished the game 21-13, they weren't consistent. Now, then again, Demetrius Davis was injured, got injured in the game. I don't know what his availability is going to be like for the UCLA game next week. I wouldn't be surprised if they rest him because UCLA is a Pac-12 team and they want to keep their players healthy. But Demetrius Davis, he's got to slide. He's got to avoid taking a big hit because Alabama State looks night and day different when he's not out there. But when Demetrius Davis is out there, all magic can happen. When he's not out there, pretty much they look like last year. Yeah, King Aaron, you got to put up more than 21 points against Miles, D. Davis or not. Javion says Maynard earned himself hot seat with his comments of I'll only get paid to win SWAC games. It wouldn't surprise me if that statement turned the whole roster off looking at the 3 next games. Yeah, I don't like that statement right there, man. Even if you're playing a good team, you're not supposed to say you're only supposed to win SWAC games. You're supposed to win all the games you play against, even if you're going to lose. I'm telling you, these young players, they don't want to hear all that crap. They don't care if they play Alabama. They don't want to hear that, well, we're supposed to lose. No. You're supposed to try to win, even if you have no chance of winning. That's not the right mentality, man. What did Herman Edwards say in the past? You play to win the game. You play to win the game. All right, family, let's get it to 90 likes. Let's share this video if you haven't. RawTruth Media. I would not do a score prediction in this Jackson State FAMU game. I know that, some of you be like, come on, man, you got to have a score prediction. But this is a new team, Jackson State. So I want to see, I'll do score predictions after this game. Like going forward, I will, but I want to see how they look like. And I want to see how FAMU looks like with their new players, not new players, but returning players. Remember, they were out against North Carolina. And what I'm hearing is Jackson State will be at full strength. So it's definitely, but y'all could put the predictions. I'll read the predictions. So Twitter Spaces After Dark has 27-21 Jackson State, respectable score. So give me y'all predictions. We'll post them out. Shout out to the brother Joshua Sims Sr. I gotta have him on my show, man. North Carolina Central alum. If you want to know anything about North Carolina Central, follow him on Twitter, Joshua Sims Sr. He said NCU. Shout out to the Eagles, man. You made all HBCUs proud. You made it BAC proud. And in my opinion, should be the favorite. I don't want to hear about last season. And it's nothing against South Carolina State, but I'm really tired that they're getting the hub for beating one team. But North Carolina Central and others are stepping up in the plate and not getting that same love. I guess North Carolina Central got to continue to dominate. So going forward, I'm rooting for North Carolina Central because I feel like they're getting disrespected. I truly feel like it. You beat North Carolina A&T 28-13. That should have been the main headline. But no, we want to talk about everybody else. So North Carolina Central, I hope you win so many games that the Celebration Bowl, whether it's Jackson State or FAMU, would be the most competitive, fun Celebration Bowl in a while because they got a quarterback. And if you got a quarterback, y'all know what I'm saying. If you got a quarterback with athletes, you have a chance to run the table. I like how Central does their business. They know they're getting disrespected, and they keep their head down and they're working. We still talking about last year's teams. Oh, South Carolina State, they're the favorite because they beat Jackson State in 2021. How dumb does that sound? Joshua Sims says facts. We are being disrespected. We dominated A&T start to finish. That should have been front page news today. But we talking about last year too many times. That's the worst part about Jackson State haters. That they take away the shine from teams who are actually putting in the work also. So that's okay. North Carolina Central, keep doing your thing. I'm rooting for y'all. I like how you develop your high school players. And they don't even have that many transfer players. It's all organic. This is how you do it if you're trying to build a winning culture. I'm not saying don't get transfer players. You can get them, but you got to be strategic. Example, Prairie A&M was strategic in getting their transfers. It was only based on fit. Alabama A&M just got a bunch of transfers that looks like so far doesn't fit. Shout out to drum major South Carolina State University. He said A&M, not all that. That had like a 3-year run in the MEAC. People acting like they were Bama. In respect, we got to at least respect that when North Carolina A&T was winning, they had the right to brag in the MEAC because they had the record. Now, maybe they have not won like they did when they had Tyreek Cohen and all those studs out there. But let's not act like they ain't got talent. North Carolina A&T has talent, and that was a good win for North Carolina Central. But I do see your point. I expected North Carolina Central to win as well, bro. But North Carolina A&T, you got to figure it out, man. All those athletes on your team right now, you can't just have 13 points. But then again, kudos to North Carolina Central. Joshua Sims Jr. has been telling people that their defense is the real deal. Nobody wanted to listen. They wanted to talk about every other team but theirs in the MEAC. Hey, at least you keeping it real, bro. He said, I'm biased. We are bitter rivals with A&T. Yeah, and especially how they left the MEAC. Joshua Sims Junior said that's how we do at the 1801 Fayetteville Street. We are building something special. Good luck to everyone else this season. Eagle pride. Man, when I watched North Carolina Central, man, they played a style so aggressive, man. That was a street fight, man. That was personal. You know a team is physical when after the game, the defense was so riled up that if North Carolina Central could play 4 more quarters, they'll do it. That's how turned up they were in that game. Real Talk says North Carolina Central implements the same philosophy as South Carolina State University, high school player development. Yep. Shout out to the Pope B Frame, man. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Get the likes up. Let's get it to 107 likes. He says, shout out to DJ. I'm ready for this Jackson State game. Yeah, man. Jackson State FAMU, man. 2 blue bloods, 2 respected schools. Should be a fun game. Real Talk says if NCCU would have went to the Celebration Bowl, I think they would have beat Jackson State too. Here's the thing about the Jackson State Celebration Bowl. They would have lost a lot. I've talked to some of the players and some people close by, right? Jackson State was not focused in that game so bad. The lack of focus, the lack of attention to detail for that game before the game was so bad that they would have lost to Southern. They would have lost to Central. And that's what I want to see from Jackson State this year. I want to see Jackson State show consistency. That's what I want to see. Consistency. Because it's like last year was like Jekyll and Hyde. When Jackson State is rolling, oh man, they're rolling. They're putting 60 points and beating teams. When they're not rolling, then slow starts. They got to avoid that. That's their biggest enemy, meaning Jackson State, is themselves. And people thought I was trying to discredit South Carolina State by saying that in the Celebration Bowl, Jackson State played so uninspired that they would have lost to 2 more teams in the SWAC. They thought they was taking a shot at South Carolina State. I respect South Carolina State, but I was just pointing out to the film. Think about it. Will they actually beat Southern last year playing like they did at the Celebration Bowl? Y'all tell me. Poe said, who you got winning, DJ? Man, it's hard to tell, to be honest. What I'm hearing from Jackson State is that these new players they got right now are the real deal. But I'm not doing any. I'm not doing a prediction on this game because I just don't know. But many other games going forward, I will make predictions. I just don't know. Who Jargon? I was waiting on you, Who Jargon. Since you're a PV alum, talk yo ish, bro. Talk yo ish. He said PVU with the W. Dog, man. Hey, yo, Hoop, can you go? Hey, you think you could go on the stream today, right now? Because I want to hear your opinion on that game. Let me know if you can. Israel Carey has Jackson State 35, FAMU 20. He said, I'm driving at work, but I'll get on. Yeah, here's the link, Hoop. Yeah, I want you. Starlight says FAMU is going to get them less mistakes since they played the game already. Man, FAMU's new quarterback, Jeremy Musa, is just what the doctor ordered, man. Just what the doctor ordered. And can you imagine if Jeremy Musa was with this team last season? That would have been fun. That would have been fun, man. That would have been very interesting. Man, the FAMU fans I talk to, man, they always tell me like, "Dang, man, what if we had Musa last year?" Because this was last year's Jackson State team was new, so of course if they would have had, who Jarkin said he on a work call. Starlight Moon says, and you must be talking about Norfolk, right? Starlight Moon says, I went to see my Spartans yesterday. It wasn't pretty. As for the MEAC, Delaware State, which I'm hearing has a good defense. Now they played a D2 school, but yeah, shout out to Norfolk. Yeah, man, they should have done better in that game. I know Marshall has a good history, but I was expecting more than 3 points from Norfolk. The offense I was not impressed. They got to clean that up. Jalen Adams, who was a transfer from Citadel, solid runner, but passing, I don't know. And speaking of passing, it seemed like Norfolk was doing musical chairs with the quarterbacks. Karen Griffin, Morgan State versus Georgia Southern. That first quarter was really good, and I don't know what that second quarter, they just lost that edge. They just lost that edge. That disappointed me. I like the new coach that they hired from Bowie State. When he gets his guys, Morgan State's going to build a winner. But what I saw against Georgia Southern looks like they ran out of gas. Because it was 0-0 in the first quarter. And I was saying to myself, okay, this is that defense that I've been hearing about Bowie State when the head coach was coaching at Bowie State. Because I heard that Bowie State had like a top-notch defense. Now he's with Morgan State. So it was 0-0 against Georgia Southern. I said, okay, I see you, Georgia. I see you, Morgan State. And then that second quarter, it was 17-7. They were losing by 10. And then I was telling myself, okay, yeah, Coach Sewell. He said, my guy, Coach Sewell, at Morgan's too. Yeah, the defensive coordinator. And then that third quarter, I was like, oh, boy. But we really lost them because of depth. Because in the FBS, there's 85 scholarships compared to 65. They gave up 28 points in the fourth quarter. And Morgan State, because I was watching that game like a hawk. I was intrigued by this new defense, new head coach. But the players are tired as dog shit, man. They were tired. Bowie State versus New Haven. Wait, did they play already? If so, what was the score? Los J, what's good, my brother? He said, how do you feel about PV going forward, not being able to throw the ball? They got to be able to throw the ball at some point. Because when you play against a FAMU or Jackson State, I don't know if I know they're different sides of the schedule. Let me look at their schedule. But if you play those teams, you got to throw some. You got to get your tight ends involved. You got to be creative. No yards passing, which is an odd game. That looked like Army and Navy. But it worked. Let me see who they got. Let me see who PV got. Urban Network Trucking. What's good, brother? He said, FAMU. Rep your school, man. Rep your school. Karen Griffin says 27-20 Bowie State. Shout out to Bowie State, one of the most underrated Division II teams around. A winning history. I mean, they could really be in the SWAC if they wanted to, or MEAC. But you know how things go. He said, RawTruth. Thank you for the respect, my brother. But back to, because that was a good question, Los J, when he asked, how do you feel about PV not throwing the ball enough? It will work against some teams, but against Alcorn State, who's on their schedule, against Mississippi Valley State, who has a defense, they got to share that up. You can't just go in the game without passing. But it will win Prairie and them enough games to be respectful. Oh, agreed, Drum Major. He says we HBCUs got to have better showings against these PWIs and FBS schools, especially if they're playing against regular FBS schools. If you're not playing Big 10, SEC, Big 12 schools, and you're playing Sun Belt, and you're playing Conference USA, and you're playing Mountain West, you shouldn't lose. You shouldn't give up 50-plus points, and you shouldn't have just a field goal or 10 points. At least do what FAMU did. Yeah, they gave up 56. Then again, North Carolina scoring on everybody. Their defense ain't nothing but, at least do that. I truly agree, man. He said S-Class Entertainment says if Alcorn would have won, would have shaken up the FCS rankings. Man, and Tennessee State. Can you imagine if Alcorn State and Tennessee State would have won? These Shines would have been losing their damn minds because they don't really want HBCUs to flourish. They don't want HBCUs to be the best they be. It's a game within the game. They would have been hating. I tell you what they would have done. They would have ranked them if Eastern Washington and Stephen F. Austin would have lost. They would have dropped their ranking so low so they wouldn't move up Tennessee State and Alcorn State. When Alcorn had a lead, I told a few people if Alcorn wins this game, they should be ranked. They deserve it. But as you see, Alcorn's not going anywhere. As long as they got Fred McNair, they got a chance against a lot of teams. I admire that, man. I admire when players give it their all for their coach, man. They didn't want to let him down. They played with a lot of heart, man. I just wish they would have got that victory. But when you play against these PWIs, especially no matter if it's a small school or big school, you have to play a clean game because the refs, they ain't going to give you no benefit of doubt. They're going to throw phantom flags all over the place. Yeah, Alcorn State, what I've seen, they should be ranked in the top 25. And I don't want to hear about Jacksonville State beat the mess out of Stephen F. Austin. Here's the thing about Jacksonville State. Again, let me keep saying this again. Since they're a FBS team exiting from an FCS team, they got to have a delay, of course. So they can't play in the FCS playoffs. They got 85 scholarships now. Jacksonville State will destroy any team in the FCS with their new depth. So I don't want to hear that excuse. Stephen F. Austin is a talented team. They have a quarterback, Trey Self, who can spit it. They got Gibbs, who's a freaking threat as a wide receiver, running back, athlete. They got a talented freshman in Jarrell Wembley at running back. So I don't want to hear about Stephen F. Austin's not all that. No, Stephen F. Austin could whoop on a lot of teams. It's just that Jacksonville State, just like Sam Houston State, look at Sam Houston State because they're another team. They got 85 scholarships now. Look how they played against Texas A&M. Texas A&M only beat them 31-0, and it was a tough 31 points. Class Entertainment, I do agree. Texas Southern should be in the top 20. It can't, in my opinion, sure, I'll put FAMU in there. They're not gonna do that. You know, the powers that be, they don't want to put a bunch of HBCUs, no matter what conference, in the top 25. It's just politics. How many teams can beat Stephen F. Austin? Not too many. How many teams can beat Eastern Washington at their place? And Eastern Washington hasn't lost a home game in a long time. So what I've seen, how many people can go toe-to-toe and a half? Because remember, FAMU was only losing to North Carolina 35-24 before the depth kicked in. How many teams can compete with that? Not too many. So you see multiple upon multiple HBCUs. How about this? How about North Carolina Central, who has a quarterback, who looks like they're going to win a lot of games, especially in the MEAC, who dominated North Carolina A&T 28-13. And S-Class Entertainment, he wants he's clarifying TSU, Tennessee State. That's what it equals to. Texas Southern, TXSU, Texas Southern. Spencer Matthews said, I don't usually cheer for Alcorn, but I was yesterday. A lot of people was cheering for him, man, even if they were rivals. It's funny that when it's the other school that plays against other. Watch, when Jackson State plays Campbell, watch how many people who are even in the SWAC will root against them. Just watch. But it's funny that Jackson State fans, I got to give them credit, they're supporting when other SWAC schools or HBCUs are playing in their non-conference. But it's the other way around when Jackson State plays non-conference, hoping them to lose. Come on, man. I just think it's lame, man. I hate when people do that. We can't preach unity and become self-haters just because we're jealous. If someone's jealous that somebody's bringing in new change, we all in this together, man. Now I get it. When you win your game, your matchup, talk your ish. If FAMU wins, talk your mess because you deserve it, and vice versa. Yeah, who Jargon said, yeah, that's respect. That's a respectful showing by Sam Houston. Yeah, that Sam Houston defense ain't nothing to play with. Man, Texas A&M couldn't run the ball at all. I said, man, this is what 85 scholarships do for your program. That's the importance. Can you imagine if FAMU, if FAMU, Jackson State, Tennessee State, South Carolina State, can you imagine if they had North Carolina Central? Can you imagine if they had 85 scholarships on their roster? They won't be able to be tired out when they play a PWI and a FBS. It's a wonderful thing, man. Some people may think, oh, it's just 20 more scholarships, but it makes a difference. I do agree with that. S-Class Entertainment said, out of all HBCUs, Tennessee State had the most impressive week one. Yes, they did, in a loss. Yeah, close second is Alcorn. Now, if I'm a voter just for what I've seen, and I'm not here for moral victories, but performance, since Alcorn and Tennessee State were close, very close to beating top 10 teams, they should be ranked around either outside of the top 25 or close to it. We got the brother Hoop Jargon on the building. What's good, bro?
DJ, what's up, man?
Hey, man. Hey, your Panthers, man. They did the damn thing, bro. Can you hear me? Hoop Jargon. Hey, we hold up to this real quick. Are you still there, Hoop Jargon? Oh, man, I know he was going to say a lot. Boy, Hoop Jargon's on. You back, man?
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. It dropped me out.
Yeah, let me I wanted to ask you what you think about your alma mater, Prairie A&M. What they heard all that, they heard all the smoke that they weren't win enough games, and they took that personal. A lot of their players after the game did the little shush sign. They took that game. Somebody done motivated. A lot of people done motivated these players at Prairie A&M. I want you to chime in about it.
Yeah, well, first off, I think it's a testament of what Coach Bubba is, man. Wasn't a sexy pick, quote unquote, but as a guy, he's been in the program 10 years. And we talking about a former NFL safety for the Houston Oilers, and he's been beloved on campus for a long time, man. And Bubba, it's almost like he kind of strikes me as like that Coach Pugh type of aura he has over a team, over at South Carolina State, that the guys just got like a workhorse mentality. Because you're right. I mean, everybody was having PV at the bottom of the SWAC this year. Losing Jawan Pass, losing our DN over there to Southern. That's a big loss. And then everybody talking about TSU's quarterback was going to come and, just mop the floor with us. And, it was a lot of doubt. So, yeah, absolutely. I can definitely mirror that. Well, I can see the sentiment why those fellas are embracing that, we just going to prove you wrong all year. I mean, every team kind of does that. But it really means something in this case because, I mean, we only one weekend. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But let the pundits tell it, it's going to be a long season all the way through.
And you know what's funny, bro? The best thing I ever said, man, about Prairie A&M. I'm not judging that team until I see what Coach Bubba McDowell has with his roster, what he's trying to build, because I had to see it at first.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, I told myself I'm glad I didn't count that team fully out because the athletes are there. Mm-hmm. Like some people were shocked. They said, man, I didn't know that PV still had this talent. Of course they did. They just lost Dumas and another player, but they're great players, by the way. Mm-hmm. But the speed is still there.
How did my boy from Pearland do? Because I was working yesterday, so I was in and out on the game. I just know the running back.
Let's see.
He's from Pearland. He's a little speedy guy. I think he transferred from Alabama.
Wait. Stewart? Yeah, Stewart. Jaden Stewart. He had 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was a beast.
Yeah. So he's matured in. I think he's his sophomore year. So yeah. So he's doing what I expected. But we're not having the quarterback presence. You just don't know because if you don't have that counter game, unless your rushing game is just extremely stout, it's kind of hard to get that going. And we saw that 2 years ago before Jawan Pass came. That even though we had Dewanye, I forget his last name, speedy guy, it's just against bigger teams, it was hard to get him off, not having the dual threat, so much as we have now. Well, as we had last year, rather, with Jawan Pass. Now, accuracy issues all over the place. But at the end of the day, You know, Jawan Pass got us to the SWAC championship, and that's nothing to wink at, man.
No, it ain't, man. And man, what do you? They didn't pass the ball. They didn't complete a pass at all in this game, man. 6 attempts, no completions. They still won the game. That's
yeah.
That's a sad way to go out. You Texas Southern, man. They just hit you in the mouth, man.
That's some Tim Tebow shit.
We ain't gonna pass at all, and still gonna win the game.
Well, if you remember, it was rain delayed for like almost 45 minutes, so maybe they just abandoned going that direction and just gonna commit to the ground. Which makes sense. It was extremely rainy yesterday out there at Prairie, Texas. So Houston, for that matter. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you stick to knowing that that's not your strength and it's wet conditions and it just happened to work out. But to your point, yeah, you don't win too many games with that strategy unless you got Derrick Henry in the backfield.
And Conley, even though he's a runner, he's shown the ability before that he's willing to pass here and there. Like, he's been in PV since 2018. So he's a veteran, man. He's from he went to Duncanville, I believe. He came out of the game. He had like cramps. So the freshman came in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They told him, well, we ain't going to throw the ball at all. Now, he got a cannon for an arm. He threw one pass where the receiver dropped it. They threw a one shot. It was one of the few passes in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, they got something there at quarterback, man. That freshman, he ain't gonna contribute because it's Conley's team. But I like what they're doing at PV. They get a few transfers that fit with their scheme, but they really develop high school players.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bubble McDowell is kind of like you said, the Buddy Pugh kind of thing, trying to build these athletes into his image.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent a message next week. They got Abilene Christian. I'll tell you, PV
tough game.
And it's gonna be tough if they win that game, man. Because you never know. Yeah. I'll go on a limb and say they'll probably, if they win that game, and then after that they got Incarnate Word, who is ranked. They're gonna send they're gonna be a threat, man. If because I want to see, win or lose, I want to see if this is really PV, the physicality, the execution, or if
agreed. Doesn't Incarnate Word have a good quarterback?
They got a new quarterback transfer. He's not like the last year's quarterback, but he's very good.
Okay.
Let me see.
I think PV could have got him because in the back channel discussions, I was seeing that he could have went to Prairie View, but something happened. So he ended up going to Incarnate Word. So okay, I was wondering how he shake it out.
Lindsey Scott, he had 391 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Incarnate Word, man. They don't rebuild, they reload. Yeah. I can't believe people thought, because the FCS rankings came out, right? Mm-hmm. And people were saying, why is Incarnate Word ranked and they lost their star quarterback? I'm like, don't you know what this team produces offensive threats each year? They're going to be fine. Look what they did at Southern Illinois. They beat them 64-29.
That's nuts.
Yo, Hoop, man, which team you saw, man, that was you the most disappointed in, like HBCU, SWAC, DAC? Your opinion, man.
Most disappointing?
Yeah, like man, I thought they were going to be really good.
I won't go most disappointing. I would say the most questioning.
All right.
That Southern 86-0, I don't know what to make of that. Because it's a lot of chest beating going on about that game. I don't know. They played against, Bible Belt Community College. I don't know who they played. And I'm seeing, in these SWAC circles, a lot of talking around that. I just don't know what their team has. Because, I mean, I've seen SWAC teams beat up on teams like Edward Waters. The name escaped me at the moment, but I've seen that happen. But there's a lot of talk around that, and I just don't know. So does anybody have any insight on that Southern game? Did you see something? I know Coach Dooley a good-ass coach, so I'm not going to take anything away from that brother. And I know he got a lot of pieces around. I just don't know what to make of that. So I need to see some more evaluation before I'm going to say Southern's good, per se. Let me say it that way.
Southern played everybody. I mean, they played all 5 of their quarterbacks. They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs.
That's crazy.
So CH $ says North Carolina was his most disappointing team of this week.
How'd they go out?
They lost to North Carolina Central, who has a quarterback, by the way, 28-13. It's the fact that they only scored 13 points.
Gotcha.
But for those who don't keep up with the MEAC, North Carolina Central returns almost everybody back from that defense last year. So they're one of those HBCUs that are on a rise right now. I don't think people realize that, but it's the 13 points only, because that's why people are down. But really, my most disappointing team, I have to agree with Spence Matthews, Alabama A&M. Bring all those transfers, record amount, by the way, in FCS, and you get your whooped by Alabama Birmingham UAB 59-0. Now, if you would have played Georgia or Alabama, you lose 59-0. You think anybody will be complaining about Alabama A&M losing like that?
No, absolutely not.
It's the fact that you lost to Alabama. If people are trying to make excuses, well, UAB is a good group of 5 team. There's sometimes, right, they're beating ranked teams. No, there's difference between elite and good teams. UAB is not an elite team to be losing to no damn 59-0, to only have 137 passing yards and 3 interceptions, to only have below 100 yards. They're not that good to shut you out like that, to have 0 points.
Well, I'll say this. KJ, KJ Black, formerly at FAMU, former Prairie great quarterback, currently coaching for the Lions. The Rams out here in LA. And me and him talked about that, about the transfers. And you on the stream with me, weren't you, DJ?
Yeah, I was on the stream with KJ.
Yeah. And you actually brought up that A&M had all those transfers. Well, you brought up the fact that guys are transferring now, 3-star, 4-star guys. Is it a good thing? And remember KJ's response?
He's not a big fan of having too many transfers because of chemistry. KJ Black called it out before it was popular. I remember people in the comments were like, "Oh man, they're gonna be, man, are you sure, KJ? Because they brought in a lot of transfers," and then KJ was emphatically telling them, like, "Hey, you gotta have team chemistry." People just try to ignore it. But shout out to KJ Black, man.
He called that early. And that's why KJ is where he is. He has foresight, man. And that's something I've always liked about his perspective on things. Now, basketball takes, he all over the place. We ain't going to go there. However, but, KJ is a smart guy. He's a quarterback. He looks at things from a very cerebral level. So when I watch Alabama, and I get it, it's game one. Again, I don't want to ever get too ahead of myself week one. But, it shows that there's continuity issues. That many interceptions that early. That means you got to go back to the drawing board. They have an overzealous coach. I know he's going to moxie them into playing well at some point. But yeah, lack of chemistry, that's what it looks like. Because that's kind of that old SWAC thing when you had guys who were 1-star guys and 0-star guys, and you go play UAB, you go get mollywopped. That ain't the case. You got talent back there now. And you shouldn't be getting mollywopped like that. That's old SWAC stuff. So it's very interesting that they went out like that. So it's not, to me, that shows me it's not a lack of talent. It's a lack of continuity. So that's what that can play out and look like.
And Spence Matthews says, Coach Prime's method 40-20, 40-40-20. And Coach Prime's method is actually effective. His transfer method. Mm-hmm. You see, since the scholarship distribution is only 65, what Coach Prime likes to get is those graduate transfers who already got their degrees, so it doesn't count to their scholarship totals to create depth. That's a genius idea. Mm-hmm. and he's also recruiting high-level high school players. See, people think that Coach Prime is just getting nothing but transfers. That's not even true. Alabama A&M had nothing but I don't think they had a high school recruit. That's what we're talking about. That is not the way you build a team. See, that 40-40-20 method that Coach Prime has is what you do, what you do when you're trying to build depth. Like last season, right? People were surprised that a couple of freshmen would even contribute that early. Some transfers came off the bench. It didn't mess up chemistry. Everything was good. It's all about who you get in the transfer portal. You got to get players with character. You got to get players who are coachable. You can't just go on a search box in the transfer portal and say, "Hey, let me get this player." Like looking at Alabama A&M's recruiting, they got all these tall corners. Oh, let me get these tall corners to help defend against Jackson State. But you didn't look at their background, if they really were good or just riding a pine on the bench. You got to research this stuff, man.
Well, I'm not going to say the staff didn't do that because, I mean, they have to on some level. Yeah. They're not just pulling, like out the vending machine, just pulling guys out. It ain't quite like that. At least it better not be if you coach at Division I level, because there's problems. On foot, you're gonna see with that program.
Hey,
so
hey, man, he was like Willy Wonka, like let me pick my own players. I won't do any research on them. I will select every player that I need to beat Jackson State. That's what he's dreaming from. Hey, going in and out. Hey, your volume's going in and out, bro.
Okay, how about now? How am I?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Good. Okay, yeah, I'm out here in Calabasas. I with Kobe met his untimely demise, so it's a little bit of rural out this way, so it may affect my volume. So, but anywho, but Coach Prime, he did his pre-work. So when you do your pre-work, you establish a culture, you establish a program, and you can go get high school guys who basically, high school guys are the bedrock of your program. You bring those dudes in, they buy into your system, and they help establish your culture. Then you bring in your transfers, and those are more or less your hired guns or whatever, right? So Coach Prime, by marketing his program like he did the first few years, now he's like, his program is elevated beyond what Jackson, Mississippi is. Because you guys have been to Jackson, Mississippi, it ain't the sexiest place in the world. It's just not. Juxtapose that with what's going on over there at Alabama A&M, Huntsville, Alabama, it's 2 times less sexy than Jackson State. So by that, I mean, when you bring guys over to a visit, you're not going to knock them off. You're not going to knock their socks off with the presentation as far as what the lay of the land is. You're going to basically have to sell them on either you, the coach, the success of the program, or whatever little NIL stuff that you can throw in or what have you. So if you don't have those things, you have to rely on guys who want a second chance. And that's what seems to me, from my point of view, is what Alabama A&M chose to do. Because, again, if you go to Huntsville, Alabama, anybody in the chat can confirm this, it's not a great place to go like that. Now, I'm not saying that the student body life isn't cool, but if they can't discern that in the few days on their visit, it doesn't matter. Like, they're going to see a country bumpkin place that, there's better place in the SWAC to be. I'm just going to keep it a buck. So when you have those things at your disadvantage, you got to kind of take in guys just on flyers. And I think with Coach Prime, establishing that culture, establishing that rapport, setting the example, and I won't divert too much, but one thing he did as well is he's shown he's raising young men. And then he had this video, you talking about no slides, no wife beaters. You wear Jackson State, it means something. You sit in the front of the classroom. Because if you come back to me, it's going to be problems. So those kind of things is what coaches want to do. They're just too scared to do. But Coach Prime has done it on all facets. He's marketing his team out there where he's doing Aflac commercials, right? He's visible. He's checked every box. So now you can dictate what you bring in because you don't have to deal with trash. or like, second chance guys who maybe have behavioral problems, maybe have institutional control problems. Coach Prime will deal with those dudes because what time the expectations there. So maybe that kind of thing is why there's a little bit of a flux with bringing in talent that doesn't quite mesh so well.
What? Swacking the fool in the building. He said, "Man, I'm sick, bro. Man, I was rooting. Man, I was rooting for Alcorn to pull off that upset.
Yeah, same here.
Because I knew if they would have won that game, because even with the loss to Jacksonville State, who's a juggernaut right now, Stephen F. Austin is still a top 10 team. Let's be honest. Stephen F. Austin can beat any team in the FCS. They're that good. If Alcorn would have won that game, would it going forward, that would have been the type of momentum. Now they still got a chance to win their division and go very far. But man, if they would have pulled that off, bro. Hoop jargon. Did you watch that game?
No, so I was working yesterday, so I didn't catch it. I was watching the score updates.
Man, when I saw that, I was watching the game on the little app, and I saw that Trey Self touchdown to go ahead. I was like, dang. No, once they got to the 30-yard line, I said, dang, don't tell me they about to score. But
yep.
I've never seen Stephen F. Austin like they were like just relieved that they won that game, because Alcorn State was so physical with them. At the end of the game, they took a sigh of relief. The game was over. You're a physical team. When the opposing team takes a sigh of relief that they've got to win, they can move on.
You know what? So maybe I'm a little jaded because Stephen F. Austin, that's why I played my freshman year. I redshirted, but I was on the basketball team. So, Stephen F. Austin, I'm always going to have that lumberjack pride somewhere deep down. But I'll go with HBCU over SFA any day and twice on. That's more incensed to me. And I just got that in the back of my mind. It's just like, I know that SFA folk think they're better than HBCUs. I know it for a fact. And so I would have loved to see them be humbled by Alcorn. And I'm pissed off it didn't happen. And in the back of my mind, I just get a little, because a lot of my friends are SFA alum, and to see how they talk about HBCU sometimes, I'm just like, dog, y'all just moved up to the FBS. Like, y'all just moved up. And it's not like, because if you ever been to Nacogdoches, Texas, again, ain't nothing to it. Like, it ain't a lot to brag on.
Right. I've been out there, man. I've been out there. The only time I've been out there, man, was, when you get invited to a party, there's SFA having a little party out there. This is college years. You get a road trip. It really has nothing out there. Yeah.
It's a great road trip for a college contained situation. Now, right. I don't want to besmirch the campus in that capacity, but overall, it's nothing there. And so it's just funny to see the mentality of, that campus when it comes to playing at HBCU. So I would have loved to see Alcorn finish the job off. It didn't happen. So, it is what it is, man.
And I like that quarterback, Aaron Allen, that they got for Alcorn. And shout out to, I just saw the comment, shout out to HBCU Overdrive. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Good brother right there. But, man, I saw a comment that says, we need to get over, I'm tired of moral, Darren Jennings says, tired of moral victories. We need a win. Brother, I want HBCUs to win these non-conference games as well, but even though I'm disappointed, I am happy to see that the SWAC has talent.
Yep.
And a couple teams saw it. Now, I'm not going to let Alabama, A&M, and everybody else who underperform cloud the judgment what the SWAC should be. I think we see early on who are the top teams. Mm-hmm. We know FAMU and Jackson State are, based on talent and coaching. But we also know that Alcorn State has something to say, and that's good for the SWAC. Competition is great. We just need everybody else to pick up their pace.
Thanks.
Prairie A&M, their stock is rising right now, but these next 2 games, they got to show that they can be competitive at least.
Thanks.
Hopefully win a game. If Prairie A&M can win one of those 2 games. Now, Incarnate Word, that's going to be tough as hell. But if they can win next week's game, which is tough, but it's easier to Incarnate Word, but still they're a tough team.
Abilene Christian?
Yeah, Abilene Christian, they're still a good team. So if they could win one of those games,
it's great. Well, it's just like last year, DJ. When we beat HBU. I made a video about it because some people are like, oh, HBU ain't nothing. But listen, man, us beating out of conference opponents, it's kind of far and few between, as far as SWAC competition is concerned. Mm-hmm. So, that's a good win. I understand that HBU is not a world beater. I get that. But for my playing days and then the days watching the football team, those are not easy games to come by. I don't care how low they rank in the Southland. Those are not easy games to come by. We dropped those games. So that's a good thing going forward. And the brother saying about the more victories, I understand that, because at the end of the day, we want to look at ourselves as number one. But if we're being honest, we know how it's been going out of conference. We getting our doors blown off. So we got to make progress some kind of way. Lament back to Jackson losing that game to ULM. Jackson could have, I think if they had their P's and Q's together, if Shador was a little more seasoned, could have easily won that game. But it wasn't a bad loss per se. And I know that sounds, counterproductive to us being, where we want to be, but it just is though. When you got to progress, you got to go through the lumps. And I think that these moral victories, quote unquote, are leading to us showing that we have a better brand of football. So, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, and I understand that, but I don't think it's such a bad thing. But I definitely mirror his sentiment. My expectations, we should beat all these dudes, but I know reality creeps into that conversation too. So, I drive in both lanes. Just being honest.
And I don't like doing moral victories either. But when you look at a team like Alcorn State, and you say, wait a minute, I can compete with a top 10 team in the FCS. Mm-hmm. That confidence, I bet you right now the players like, wait a minute. It went from competing at the West to how about we'll try to win the SWAC? That's what the players are thinking. Like, wait a minute. If we play discipline and listen to our coach, Fred McNair, who's a talented coach, by the way, we have a chance. That's all they're asking for is a chance. See, everybody was talking about other teams. I'm not talking about Jackson State FAMU. I'm talking about other ones, right? Let's exclude them out. That they were going to win a division. And Texas Southern was going to win. We heard that. We heard Grambling, and I wish Grambling didn't play that bad game, by the way. Let me digress.
Well, let me say this, DJ.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what the players are saying. The players are saying, well, damn, we almost beat SFA. SFA better than Jackson. So and that may not be that rally cry, but it's in the back of their head. Believe that. So
yeah,
now
that's what they're thinking right now. Mm-hmm. Of course, they're thinking that right now. Now we have not seen Jackson State's team this year, even though we heard it's talented, but they're ranked ahead. And so the players' mind is like, wait a minute. Right now, the Alcorn State players are so confident, and deservedly so. They feel like they can win the whole SWAC as well as Celebration Bowl right now. I guarantee it. You don't almost beat a top 10 team and think, maybe we could just win the West. No. They think they're not going to say it. But that boost they got from that game, they got a doable quarterback who played in Louisiana Tech, and then you know what I'm saying. If you played in the FBS, not off the bench or anything, but if you played and contribute, you have a chance to be great in the FCS. I always believe that. You don't have to be a star, but if you're really good enough and you can manage the game, you have a chance.
And I'm going to address this comment real quick, DJ. HBCU Overdrive with Doc Holliday.
He said, I went to the FCS, that one?
He said, yeah, I went to SFA too, and they love to talk down HBCUs until I had to put them in their place. Yes, again, I'm not on these streams lying. Like, that's what the average rank and file Southland, now what Mountain West Conference, person thinks about a HBCU program. They think that black people, these black people talking. White folks, we already know kind of what the sentiment is, but black folks will openly talk down on HBCUs until they pull up at homecoming at Texas Southern, at Prairie View. Then it's all good, but when they get back to their comfortable space, they'll talk down like they don't belong on the same field, the same court with them. So, I tell no lies on these streams, man. It is what it is. Because at one point, I thought like that, which was wrong. But, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie about the reality.
Yeah, I can't. And I appreciate your honesty, man. It was sad hearing. I'll tell you, man, going through those college towns, going to parties, we talk about football, and, every time they see they play at HBCU or where the SWAC or me, we about to, and these are brothers saying this, we about to destroy these fools. And you're looking at them like, damn. Can you have some more respect?
Or not even that. They like these dudes trash ass program. Like that's the jargon that comes out their mouth.
Right.
And it's just like, wow. It's like you ain't got no respect for that.
See, this is why I wanted Alcorn to win that game, not just because that's the pay. I wanted Alcorn to shut up them shines up there. No, nothing personal. But I was tired of the disrespect, man. I was tired of it.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. Like I say, I'm an SFA. Like I love my brothers and sisters I met over the years, who were SFA alum. I'm a Prairie View alum, so PV always come first. But I still got a soft spot for SFA. But when they play at HBCU, it's out the window every time. I don't care who they play. They play Pine Bluff. I don't care. I'm going for Pine Bluff. So, it's one of those things.
Darren Jennings says, how do you feel about Coach Maynard, Alabama A&M coach? Comments on the loss. I didn't even try, or I'm just trying to win the sweat. Come on, man. Ain't nobody today's SWAC fans, since there's an upgrading talent all across the league, they're not trying to hear that damn crap. We're just trying to win the SWAC and we don't care about competing. No, they want to see competition, even if you're losing. Competition. Making excuses, man. You got your ass kicked by UAB. You got beat down like you playing against Georgia and Bama, 59-0. I don't want to hear about no. I didn't even try. Excuses.
I'm gonna be honest with you, DJ. Every coach not named Deion Sanders, their goal is to just outright win, is to win their league. Every coach in every sport, generally speaking, the goal, because you got two goals. Overall record is cool, but you want to win your conference. And every coach will tell you that. And I'll give an example. When I was coaching at Prairie View, we lost. I mean, we had like a really good team. We had a guy named Darnell Huge, SWAC Player of the Year that year. And we just we played against Air Force. And it was a blizzard. It was literally a blizzard going out there in Colorado. It was just like, and our guys, I mean, we are tropical people. We ain't used to no damn blizzard. And we just played like ass, man. We lost to Air Force. And that's right when Jimmy Fredette left. We had no business losing them by like 30 or 40 or something to that effect. Because we were like losing to teams like Cincinnati by like 5. We lost Cincinnati by 5. We lost to Wyoming by 8 that year. We had a really good team. UCLA by 20. And Air Force just blew our doors off. And the coach came in because he knew we were way better than that. And coaches don't do this. He came in after the game and he talked to, because everybody had their heads down. He's like, listen, guys, I know what y'all did out there. That's not y'all. Again, this never happens. He came in, he's like, but listen, man, it's all about winning your league. So lick your wounds. Y'all go win y'all conference, man. Win y'all conference. That's all that matters. And I know what people are going to say, oh, that's another coach just trying to talk you up. But I got to tell you guys, that does not happen when the opposite coach comes in. I don't care how much they beat you by. They don't come in and I lost to Texas by 71 playing at Prairie View. Coach Rick Barnes did not come in and talk us up. Didn't happen. So when he did that, because he knew, like he saw the talent in that team, it was a bad performance overall, but he kept the main thing. And I got to say, DJ, winning your conference is the ultimate goal. Now, as fans, we want to see a good performance against everybody. I understand that. But he was talking from a coach's mind.
Here's what I'm saying. You don't say that out loud, though. You don't say that. Like,
fair enough.
You that. Man, today's players ain't trying to hear that crap.
Fair enough.
I'm just here to win this one, man. We ain't trying to hear that bullshit, man. We trying to be dominant, man.
Fair
That's
enough.
why people who you have people who are rivals to Jackson State. They appreciate Coach Prime because he's preaching dominance. He's saying we ain't trying to win, we're trying to dominate. You see, players want to hear that stuff. They don't want to hear, we're just trying. We're not trying. We don't care about this game. Come on, man.
Well,
I'm not trying to be
Coach,
harsh on
no,
A&M,
go
but
ahead, my bad.
you just don't say that stuff like that, man.
Well, and that's why I said that it's applicable to everybody except Coach Prime, because Coach Prime did his pre-work. Coach Prime if we're being honest, he is a entity bigger than the SWAC. He just is. So it's kind of basically the point I'm getting at, he has a built-in sense of credibility that he can do that most coaches can't. Because if you're talking too much, trust me on this, DJ, alumni are gonna be like, oh, you being arrogant. Oh, you ain't like it gets so goofy in the spaces of the alumni, the players, the parents. So it's almost you got to have like a right amount of confidence and humility all the way through. Coach Prime ain't never had humility, so that's not how he rolled. He's been successful, wildly successful, so he can do things that other coaches can't do. So I want to impart that upon the conversation.
Yeah, man. Just before I go, I want to end this by, again, I know a lot of people don't hear this, but Coach Prime was right about scheduling. Is the money game worth it? Really, is the money game worth it? I'm not saying don't schedule FBS, but if you're going to schedule FBS, be strategic on it. Yeah. Schedule Texas State or something, or UTSA, even though UTSA is really good now. But somebody's not going to beat you 50 plus or 70 plus points.
Yeah.
Because it looks different when you lose to a team 40-20 than 70-13 or any of those scores, man. Y'all got to schedule smarter, man.
Agreed. Well, DJ, I'm going to let you on one little known secret. Yeah. When these coaches schedule these out of conference games, it's just true. Hoop jargon gonna give you the real. You can do what you want to do with the information. Some of these dudes make these out of conference games to align with their personal vacations, and I leave it at that. So when you see them play some big old school way out there because they want to go and see it and want to go deal with what they deal with out there on the road, that's just the thing that happens. It does happen. And again, say I'm lying, say I'm flying, but that does go into it too. To your point about scheduling things that make sense. Sometimes you see games that don't make sense because they got other stuff going on, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, schedule Rice, man. Schedule North Texas. Schedule schedule Kansas.
Kansas gonna beat the brakes off there, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, they'll win. And brother Charles, he said nobody in the SWAC was going to win that game. Of course, they're not going to win that game, but most teams, I bet you if Jackson State played UAB would win, but Jackson State would put some points. I guarantee you. Same with FAMU. FAMU will put some points on UAB. It's not going to be easy, but you don't get shut out. You see what I'm saying, Hoop Jargon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I doubt Alcorn State would have been shut out by UAB. Can we all agree on that?
You said who now?
I bet you. I doubt that Alcorn State, if they would have played UAB, they would not be shut out. And I'm not trying to be harsh, but I'm telling you how bad the game was.
The real's the real. Yeah. And
I'm not saying they would have beat UAB.
Yeah. But come on, man. Put something on the board with it. And the room to grow, she's not lying. All coaches don't have that mentality. This is true. Nothing's an absolute, but I'm telling you that it does go on. So, again, take what you want with the information. Not applicable to everybody. Absolutely not. Some guys are more committed to their family life back home. Some guys are bachelors. Some guys do what they do, but it does influence the schedule they make. I'm only telling you what I know.
You see that? Imperial Nubia says several FBS teams got beat by FBS teams by more than 40. See, that's why you got to be smart to who you schedule. Schedule the teams you know that give you a little money. If you really want to play the money game, schedule again Rice. Y'all know who the schools are that just want any type of win. New Mexico State, UMass, UConn. I mean, the list goes on. Shoot,
There's plenty of them out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lipscomb, William and Mary. Schools out like that.
Lower level FCS school. I mean, regular Southland FCS, Northern Iowa,
Yeah. Northwestern
somebody.
State. Yeah, straight up.
And Northern Iowa is a solid program, but teams are not going to beat you again more than 50, I say.
Yeah. I mean, because what you don't want to do is kill your kids. You don't want to kill their confidence by taking again, that's the inverse of a moral victory. That you think it's a moral victory, but you kill your kids' confidence by getting rolled up too bad. And you don't want to have that either. So, yeah, again, like you said, scheduling smart definitely helps your bottom line. It helps your team out. If it's a guarantee game, obviously you're helping the program out financially.
And I like how honest Coach Prime is, man. I got to give him props on this. When they were talking about old play Alabama, he said, man, we ain't even there yet. They got better offensive line and better in the trenches, more depth. And some people got mad at the honesty, but he's trying to protect the image of his kids. If you dominate every game, you'll be in the NFL. Look, Joshua Williams of Division II. Ain't played nobody at Fayetteville State.
Mm-hmm.
And they went he went as the highest drafted HBCU player because he dominated every game. Plus, he had measurables.
Hey,
because 6'2" corners who run 4.4 don't grow up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's the whole thing, man. If you can play, generally you'll get found. If you can play, generally you will be found. And we talked about Abilene Christian. They've been putting dudes in the NFL forever before they moved up to Division I. Texas A&M Kingsville used to put in guys in all the time. So Grambling State, Coach Eddie Robinson, been putting dudes in the NFL, man. If you dominate your league, you dominate your competition, NFL people will take notice. That's just what it is.
South Carolina, drum major South Carolina says South Carolina plays University of South Carolina in 2 weeks. So that game against Bethune-Cookman, I hate that Bethune-Cookman schedule Miami, man.
Ooh.
Because their offense is improved. I see the improvement, but when you tell people that, Bethune improved, they're like, they lost to Miami 70-13. But from what I've seen from Jalen Jones and the receivers, they're going to win more than 2 games. But when you tell people that, they're like, they lost 70. Just watch. I'm going to sit back.
When Jalen used to be at Jackson, right?
Yeah, he's improved.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, anytime you can throw 240 yards against a talented Miami team who is coached by a better coach, by the way, Mario Cristobal, you get my respect. And really, it's those receivers at Bethune-Cookman are fast as hell, man. The commentator kept saying, man, I can't believe how fast these Bethune-Cookman receivers are. The whole game.
It's talent, bro. We've been had talent.
Yeah.
Been had talent in HBCU race. You know what? I got to say this, too. I'm just glad that it's so many eyes on HBCU sports now because we've been had it. I mean, you know the names, Aeneas Williams, Michael Strahan, yada, yada, yada. But there's other guys, who are, less, quote unquote, ballyhoo guys, being speedy receivers, being running backs that we had going to the SWAC. We've been had guys like, so for example, in Grambling, they had David Hatcher was a great defensive tackle, played for the Cowboys. And it was good to see those guys get in there too. Now, Hatch got a little bit of accolade towards the end of his Cowboy stint, but there's a lot of under radar HBCU guys that go there and just become staples, going forward. And then guys like Robert Mathis from Alabama A&M who just blow up out of nowhere. So, it's always been there. So it's good that the cameras are there now and the the networks have finally caught on because they see it's profitable. You know what time it is. So, it's just good for the overall product. I have to say, man, I'm enjoying this, man.
I'm enjoying this, what I call the HBC Renaissance right now,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And, that's all I want, man. Just be strategic on your schedule. I know people talk about, we schedule these teams because of to put players on the map, but you got to be consistent for multiple games, not just one game. I'm sure what's his name? Jacoby Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a great game against Clemson, but he was an all MEAC player of the year, and he showed the consistency. See, if Jacoby Durant was not consistent for every single game, that one game he had against Clemson wouldn't mean much.
Mm-hmm.
So Jacoby Durant put in that work and showed NFL scouts that he's dependable each game. That's the truth. That's what people should be here talking about. Someone said Jimmy Smith. You forget Jimmy Smith at Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that 96 team that Jackson State had was one of the most explosive teams? I know the Alcorn team would be there before that, but
that's about right.
Yeah, they said that 96 team was really good.
And about 4 years ago, Alcorn had these fast receivers. I forget those brothers' names. I think one of them ended up going to the NFL for a little stint. So, I mean, it may have been like 5 years ago when they went to the championship game. I think they played Grambling in the championship game. They had some really speedy receivers. Cat Rogers from Grambling, he's still in the NFL right now. Kadero Hodge from Prairie, still in the NFL right now, playing receiver. So it's guys, man. It's guys. It's just, it doesn't have to be all the marquee dudes, but we put talent at that next level. So it's good to see, guys, making a living for themselves and promoting themselves, or promoting the brand that is HBCU sports,
right,
on that next level, man. It's just beautiful to see.
Exactly. Levi said yesterday's price, not today's price. Shout out to Fat Joe. Ernest Hamilton says Southern versus LSU is going to be an interesting game coming up. Go Jags. Shout out to Southern. I know Southern, I know what their talent is. So even though they played against a weaker opponent, the D-line is going to be nasty. The front seven in totals. Linebackers and D-line, Dumas, Jordan Lewis, and company. They're going to be good. LSU, I've kept up. I keep up with all these SEC schools like on the side. LSU has a nasty D-line with Mason Smith, Ollie Gay, and company. I'm telling you, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to watch that game. But
I got head versus heart on that one. I hope Southern does their thing.
Right.
Head stay, it might get rolled up pretty good, but I hope not. So, we'll see.
And here's what they're going to do, because Matt House is LSU's defensive coordinator. So this defensive scheme, you're going to see it against Florida State today. It's pretty new. They got a freshman All-American, Harold Perkins. He's from H-Town, but he's really a Louisiana native. He came to Houston because of Katrina. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Harold Perkins, they use him all types of ways, and they use him for quarterback spy. Now, this is a 6'3", 220 linebacker athlete, can play safety. They'll use him to spy. I'll tell you, man, this it's going to be interesting, man, but I'll always root for the HBCUs. I'm going to root for Southern to do their thing, man. And, again, we'll see what happens. But if they come out showing that they're nothing to play with, that's going to bode well for the whole SWAC and all HBCUs.
It is. I love that new hybrid linebacker safety mode. A little Keanu Neal kind of archetype. So, but again, those kind of things. Well, I was thinking the other way on that, but it's good to see the game evolve and you be able to guys being so versatile, because it just opens up so many opportunities on the defensive side of football.
And good comment here. Spence Matthew says, if you have consistent numbers, you will get noticed. Numbers are numbers. That is true. Consistency gets you to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to play USC and Alabama all the time. That's just, I mean, I've seen in hoop jargon, you know this is true. I've seen players have one good game against a Power 5 school and was inconsistent through the season, was undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have consistency, you're not going to get drafted.
And you know what that is called? That means your motor doesn't run hot unless it's a big game. And scouts don't like that. Your motor should run hot against everybody. And that's the way they frame it. And that's how you can get marginalized because you only get up for the good games. You know, Jadeveon Clowney was a guy who they labeled that way. It just so happened he had freakish talent, so he overcame that. But, you know, it is what it is.
Good, bro.
If you ain't a Jadeveon Clowney, then you might need to show consistency to show your motor runs hot no matter what.
Hey, bro, Jadeveon Clowney is the only player that can be like inconsistent in every game and get drafted that high, man. Because he was another world, man.
You're an anomaly, man. He's an anomaly. No, don't go for the anomaly. Go for the standards.
Mm-hmm. Let me read some of these comments before I roll out.
Yes,
Charles
sir.
Booker says Southern's online NFL edition. Yeah, if the Southern online just have a normal game, because LSU they're gonna get theirs. Their stock is going up. So this is an audition for them. HBCU Overdrive says 96 team, JSU team was explosive with Graylin Pratt at quarterback. Shout out to Graylin Pratt, legend. Darren Jennings says, how do you feel about Quay Davis today? I think he's going to put on a show, what I've been hearing.
I love Quay Davis, man.
Good. Like, look like Debo.
Boy,
Debo's out there,
straight
man.
up, boy.
Look at his high school film, man.
Cut back king, boy. That boy can cut back and get out in open space, man.
Mr. Yak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Yak. And he breaks tackles like a running back.
Yes, sir.
You better not put a small corner on him.
Boy.
You better not put a small corner on him, man, because he will break that tackle.
I'm glad he finally playing. You know, I don't know what happened last year all the way, but I'm glad he's getting out there this year.
He could have played last year, but he chose to. What I heard is he chose to redshirt.
Okay, that's cool. I'm good with that.
Yeah, because he wanted to focus. He had so much going on personally. He had to focus on academics and everything. So
that's fair.
That was actually smart by him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he come out of Dallas Skyline High School. They ain't the greatest area in Dallas, man. No. Sometimes you need some time to mature, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, but I'm happy for the brother, man. And he's a matchup nightmare. This receiver core is a lot better. This receiver core is so good that the highly rated transfer in Mark Pope transferred out of Jackson State for Miami.
He saw what time it was.
Because he wasn't going to be the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Quay about to go off on anybody. It don't matter who they play against. He's that much of a problem.
Yeah, he's a problem. Big hands, just big body, fast. Just kidding. Yeah, man. I didn't know he's only 6 foot. I thought he was a little taller now. He look a little taller now.
Man, he look like he's 6'2" out there.
Man, for real though.
He look like he's 6'2", 220, but they list him at 6 foot. I think they need to update that. Man. I saw something that says 6 foot 190 something. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, he look bigger than that.
Stronger and taller than that.
He definitely does.
He looks like a pro right now, and he's not even in the league.
Facts.
Derek White says, go back as far as McNair, Steve McNair is Heisman candidate. He wasn't playing Power Fives. Talk to him. Yep. But he was consistent every single day. Every single game.
Steve McNair was just another beast, man. He's another kind of animal, man. He's just another kind of animal, man.
Darren Jennings says Quay had that Larry Johnson aura about him. He from Skyline. Yeah, Larry Johnson did go to Skyline.
Didn't know that. I knew he's from Dallas. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, he went to Skyline. He was an All-American at Skyline, and then he went to UNLV.
What's the name went there too? He got drafted in the NBA.
Darius Miles?
No. Darius Miles went to East St. Louis High School.
No. I know that. His last name is Miles.
Yes, C.J. Miles.
C.J.
Miles went to Skyline. Yes, went to UT and then the NBA. Well, he's supposed to go to the NBA. He drafted straight to the NBA. He committed to UT, but he ended up going straight to the NBA.
Can you imagine if CJ Miles went to UT, man?
Bruh.
With LaMarcus Aldridge.
Bruh.
Man.
That'd have been nasty.
Yeah. What could have been?
I played LaMarcus Aldridge at UT, and I know that for a fact. Him and CJ Miles would have been a problem and a half.
I know Florida won in 06, but
they gave him a run.
Yeah.
That's all they needed was a two guard, bro. I played that 06 Texas team. They had PJ Tucker, Boobie Gibson, little guard AJ Abrams. So basically, AJ and Boobie had to play in the backcourt, two small guards. But if you had CJ back there instead of Abrams, oh my God, 6'6", do everything, two guard. Oh man, we nobody be able to stop them dudes, man.
History lesson. This is true because I watched the documentary. He said he was highly recruited out of high school. McNair was on his way to be the Canes. Yeah, Steve McNair. I think Miami wanted him to be a safety or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Steve was like, I want to play quarterback. So, because everybody was trying to have him play DB, safety, because it was athletic gifts. But Alcorn gave him the shot to be a quarterback. Yeah, Doc Holliday said, yeah, it's true. Dang, can you imagine if that's why these scouts, man, you got to do a better job of analyzing your high school players. Can you imagine if the Miami allowed Steve McNair to play quarterback and he was with Miami?
Who they have at the time?
They had a Heisman. They had Vinny Testaverde and Gino Toretta. I can't believe I know the history.
That's kind of rough. I mean, hindsight 2020, but
yeah,
that's a tough situation right there. But I mean, but that's what makes sports beautiful, man. These backstories of how guys like JJ Watt went to Central Michigan at first as a tight end, then took his ass to Wisconsin, played DN and blew up. I mean, the backstories make all this. It makes the whole game beautiful to me. And sometimes it has casualties, and that sucks when you move a guy out of his position and it doesn't work out. But it's just one of those things, man.
But I'm glad everything worked out for McNair.
Absolutely.
Man. And he became a legend. So it worked out. It worked out well for Steve McNair. Gino Toretta was a Heisman quarterback and didn't get drafted.
Ain't that something? Well, James White, same thing happened to him at Oklahoma. But he blew both his knees off. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah, I know you're an OU guy. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's my FBI. If you talk to many HBCU fans, they won't admit it, but they always got a side FBS team that they root for.
Absolutely, I'm UT all day.
My side FBS team that I root for in football is OU because my father, even though he was really because my father's a PV alum, but when he was a kid, he always rooted for OU. And he was a big-time Billy Sims fan. So that's what started it. Like Billy Sims before that knee injury was the truth, man. And people ask me all the time, do you hate UT? I have family members who root for the UT. So there's not really hate, but I want my team to win that game. I'll tell you that. I want them to win that game.
Same here.
Darren Jennings says Campbell is no joke. Yeah, Campbell look good. Campbell looks real good, man. That's going to be a good game. They better be ranked. And they got William and Mary next, who William and Mary just beat the FBS team, too. Charles Booker says, I'm a Gator fan. Shout out to the Gators, man. Hey, Anthony Richards for Heisman, man. You see Anthony Richards, bro?
I didn't catch it.
Man, he looked like baby Cam Newton out there.
Oh, yeah. I saw his play. He got that trick play they did in over.
Ooh, man.
That's the 2-point conversion. Yeah, that was sweet. That was sweet.
And everybody, and Florida was the underdog. Well, Florida.
Yeah, they were the underdog.
They was making fun of the head coach this whole offseason at Florida, talking about, he don't know about the SEC. He don't recruit well and all that. He silenced a lot of doubters last night, man. I'll tell you.
Who would it be? Vanderbilt?
No, they beat Utah.
Utah, that's right. Utah. They ranked number 7, I believe. Yeah.
It's your boy OZ says, I live in Austin. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
I love UT, man. It's just, I played them twice in my career. It didn't work out so well for me.
No feelings hard, man. Karen Griffin said the same thing. Russell Wilson when he left NC State. Spencer Matthews says the U for me. Yeah, Miami looks good, man. I like that head coach. They got Mario Cristobal at Miami. He's got them disciplined. There was a player that spiked the ball. Now he don't mind you celebrating, but don't celebrate to get a penalty. And they caused a penalty, and he just went right to his face and said, "Man, you can't call." It had that real man conversation. See, that's what Miami was missing. Manny Diaz, who was a head coach last year, was too nonchalant, too passive. They needed a guy like Cristobal that would bring in the physicality that Miami once had years ago.
Mm-hmm. It's like Miami is forgetting what made them, and they just worried about the flash part. I mean, Miami's always been a flashy program, but it's like y'all ain't doing the trench work to get to the flashy. So, no, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Darren Jean says, who's going to score first? Who's going to score the first touchdown for Jackson State?
Who's going to?
I'll go with 3. Either Kevin Coleman, because he's a slot receiver, and they're usually the security blanket for the quarterback. Malachi Wyman, Shane Hooks, those 3 first. Either one of those 3. It's probably Wyman.
You think he's still gonna? Well, to expound on that, how do you think Shadur's game is gonna take a step forward this year?
I think from a mental approach. I think mentally he'll be more cerebral, getting the ball out quicker. Being a quarterback, you got to know your offensive line, and if your offensive line cannot hold up, you got to get that ball out the way. So it's all on the quarterback to realize that and point it out.
I'm just hoping. Again, I can't help but to lament back to what KJ was saying. Go ahead.
I just saw some. And shout out to Between the Game Sports. He said, "Yo, in the building, what's good, my brother?"
What up, Will?
H-Town brother right there. Los J said he heard that Wyman's not there. We'll just see.
I'm just hoping Shadur can hit guys, not relying on the safety valve so much, hitting guys in stride of field. Because like what KJ was saying, that's kind of what he wants to see out of him going forward, which I think that's the natural progression of any young quarterback. That you start, you know how the old saying goes, the game starts to slow down for you a little bit. So I'm waiting for it to do that, and he start blowing those numbers up. I think that's what hindering Jackson last year, with putting those numbers up on certain opponents because they couldn't get the ball upfield. So I anticipate that Shador will take that step forward this year with that.
That's a good point. C.H. Dawson said, I'm a University of Alabama alumni, and my family is from Tuscaloosa. I support all HBCUs.
There you go.
Imperial Nubia says he's not. Wyman is not eligible for the first few games. I didn't even hear that. And then PNC King says Wyman third string from what I heard. Golly.
Either way it go, he ain't playing.
Travis Hunter. The Pope says Travis Hunter will score first.
Okay, you talking about pick 6.
Remember, he does play on offense too, but he just can't.
I doubt they put him in early.
Yeah.
unless Deion wants to set the tone, then that's a whole other story.
All right, here's a sleeper. Here's a sleeper who may score first for Jackson State. Dallas Daniels, number 4. Who may. Now, my first option, of course, is Kevin Coleman and Shane Hooks, and I did say Wyman, but it looks like he ain't even gonna play.
Yeah, we can scratch him off the list.
So Dallas Daniels, number 4, is my sleeper of getting the first touchdown. But yeah, the game about to start in an hour. And any last words before we roll out, bro?
Nah, man, it's good discussion, man. Talking HBCU sports, talking sports in general. You know, I'm always down. I'm about to pull up way out here in Ventura, California, about an hour and a half from my house, working this working this store way out here. So it was good to talk while I'm commuting. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Y'all make sure y'all sub to the channel. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out. You know, it brings more people for the after listing. And if you want to come over to my side of the world, you can at the Hoop Jargon. So appreciate all y'all. Appreciate you, DJ. That's it,
No
man.
problem. And let me read this one. Israel Kerr says, "Got to be nice to have so many options."
Absolutely.
Even you know what's crazy? Even what we're hearing about Malachi, why am I not playing? Jackson State still got a bunch of receivers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, he's not playing on this game. We'll just play somebody else. Man, that's a good luxury to have. I ain't gonna lie.
Great problem to have.
Charles Booker said the running backs will score first. We'll see. That could happen. Now, we'll see how this game is, man. Shout out to FAMU Jackson State for building their rosters and their teams the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hope to see a really great game, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that, Spence Matthews. This is RawTruth Media joined by Hoop Jargon. We out.
Peace.